Okay. At the end of the awards ceremony, Stanley joined all the special guests on stage for the grand finale. Arthur paced for the line of the performers like a general. Stanley was on the end. "This is it," Arthur said. "Ready?" Stop biting your nails. A murmur of excitement went down the line. Yang and the Flying Chinese Wonder leaned forward and winked. Winked at Stanley. Stanley noticed that beside him, Carmen del Junco and Oda Nobu were holding hands. "Commence downtown," Arthur hollered. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yin flipped high in the air and landed on her brother Yang's shoulders. Yang bent his knees, and the pair launched straight upward like a rocket. Yang landed on Odanobu's shoulders, so they were now 3 people tall. At that moment, Carmen del Junco grabbed Stanley's hands and spun him around. His feet left the ground, and she let go. Stanley arced around the theater like a boomerang until he saw Yang's face come into view, and they grabbed each other's hands. Stanley held his body out to the side and waved his legs gently atop the flagpole formed by his friends. The crowd leaped to their feet. "That's my boy!" cried his father. "Bravo!" yelled the President of the United States. "Be careful!" cried Stanley's mother. High over his friends from all over the world, Stanley waved his body proudly. "Now me!" called Arthur. That spring, Arthur and Stanley were playing in their room at home when their mother burst in. "Look!" she cried, waving an enormous envelope. "What is it?" asked Stanley. "Open it," his mother said. The envelope was made of thick, creamy paper, and Stanley slipped his finger under the flap and slid it open. He pulled out a grand square of paper and read. You want to read what's on the card?
"You are cordially invited to join us in celebrating our wedding. Oda Nobu of Tokyo, Japan, and Carmen del Junco of Mexico City, Mexico."
In the corner of the invitation was a note, jotted in blue pen. Stanley peeked inside the envelope and spotted something else inside. He pulled out a piece of card that was shaped just like a very small version of himself. "What's that?" said Arthur. "RSVP via Flat Stanley," Stanley read. "You're starting a trend," Arthur said. He sounded impressed. Stanley smiled to himself and walked over to his bulletin board. He looked for a free spot among all the other things tacked up there. His eyes passed over a newspaper headline from when he saved Mount Rushmore, pinned next to a postcard from Calamity Jane. There was a snapshot of him and Amisi in front of Egyptian pyramids, and a picture of Odunobu in a karate class in Japan. Underneath one corner of an Australian boomerang, there was a picture he took at the Beijing Zoo of a ferocious-looking panda bear. There was a newspaper headline from his plunge over the Niagara Falls, next to a flat fish head skull from Africa. He had a lot of adventures, and he'd hoped to have many more. Near the center of the board, with its red, white, and blue ribbon hanging from a pushpin, was his National Medal of Achievement. Stanley tacked the wedding invitation right next to the bronze medal. He read again the note jotted in the corner. Read that.
"Stanley, thank you for bringing us together."
Thank you for bringing us together. What you need to know before our adventure in the capital. Washington, D.C., the District of Columbia, was named after the great discoverer Christopher Columbus. The official flag of Washington, D.C. has 3 red stars and 2 red stripes on a white background, which is based on the shield from George Washington's family coat of arms. Although D.C. residents pay taxes to the federal government, they do not have to have a voting representative in Congress. That's why, if you drive through D.C., you may see license plates that say no taxation without representation. The National Air and Space Museum in Washington, D.C. is the most popular museum in the world. More than 9 million people visit every year. Do you know that Abraham Lincoln was 6 feet 4 inches tall? Do you know how much taller that is than me?
No.
So you're 4 feet tall, so that's 6.
4 feet?
Yeah, you're 4 feet, so that's 2 feet 4 inches taller than you.
2 feet and 4 inches taller than me?
Yep. But the statue of Abraham Lincoln inside the Lincoln Memorial stands at nearly 19 feet. The official motto of D.C. in Justia Omnibus. Justitia Omnibus, which is Latin for justice to all. The White House was originally called the Executive Mansion, or the President's Palace. A Baltimore reporter once called it the White House in a newspaper article, and the name caught on. Theodore Roosevelt made this the official name in 1901.
Roosevelt.
Theodore Roosevelt.
Remember,
There's Theodore Roosevelt. He also goes by Teddy Roosevelt.
So all the presidents are boys? All the presidents in this whole wide world are boys?
Yep, there's never been a female president. But I think this year maybe Hillary Clinton is going to run for president. Not this year, but this coming election.
Poo poo. Let's read more. Poo poo.
Say goodnight to everybody.
Good night, everybody.
We love you.
I love you too.